Welcome to an interview with Leo Harmonay. Leo is a Peekskillite. He's got 3 albums released, 1 LP, 3 LPs, 1 EP. He's a songwriter, musician, and an all-around great guy. So thanks for being here, Leo. Hope you and your family have been doing well during this pandemic. I know it's been a tough time for a lot of people, the musician community especially. But I'm glad to sit down with you and pick your brain today about some of your albums, songwriting process, and things like that. So thanks for joining me.
Thanks for asking me to speak to you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So we'll dive right into it. I have some questions might be easy, some a little more difficult. So I'll dive in with what could be a harder one. Maybe it's an easy one, but why do you make music?
You got to ask me that, right? Well, it's therapeutic for me. You know, I I always like to write. I always like to write poetry. I always wrote growing up, and I always played a little bit of music. And this just gives you an opportunity to kind of merge the two. But it's very therapeutic. It helps me through my darkness, my light, my emotional, uh, weaknesses.
Yeah.
And it really is more of a psychological release for me. Um, and it's of course it's a way you can express yourself. Everybody needs some form of creativity to express, and I feel that I can really kind of get raw and expose myself. And you know, I'm not the best communicator, probably one-on-one with a person, but you in your songs, maybe you can say something that you really can't say in words. So,
Yeah.
and that's why I do it.
Yeah. Great. Well, I mean, it sounds like certainly it's therapeutic for you, but I find your music anyway to be therapeutic for me also. So it's, I think, also rewarding for the fans. So thank you for making the music you've made.
And
Uh,
likewise, it's
yeah.
likewise.
Yeah. Thanks. Now, I think if somebody would introduce you, I was tempted to do it too and say, "Oh, Leo Harmonay, singer songwriter." Uh, I feel you're more than that, but I think people when they know, especially when they see us perform and we play acoustic guitar and we sing, it's singer songwriter. But listening to your album certainly, I think, goes way beyond that. Because I think when people think singer songwriter, they think James Taylor and things like that. So do you feel kind of restricted by the moniker singer songwriter when people describe you as that, or?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously we're influenced, right? Growing, we were in our ages, we were influenced by some amazing singer-songwriters, the whole singer-songwriter genre, right? From
Yeah.
Cat Stevens to Jim Croce to Neil Young, and of course Johnny Cash and Dylan and all the. Uh, if those influences, if you can't deny those influences, that's for sure. Uh, but I mean, I never really played in a band, and I'm more of a solo act anyway, if I'm even an act. So I don't mind that, the moniker of that.
Yeah.
I also play, in a blues band too. I play blues harmonica, which is a whole different kind of,
Yeah.
character, different kind of music too.
Right.
So
Great. Uh, okay. So since you're a songwriter, how do you write a song? Do you have one process that you kind of follow each time where, hey, I always write lyrics, then I write the music, or I always write music, then the lyrics, or I write a melody first? Or is it each song emerges in its own way?
yeah, that's something that I really want to ask you too. I mean, and I ask anybody that writes music, but it's definitely it's not the same. And I remember sometimes where some of these songs even come from. Where do they come from? Like I was listening to an interview with Paul Simon, how he's writing "The Sound of Silence" or "Bridge Over Troubled Waters," which is an amazing song, and how
Yeah.
it came to him. He didn't even know how it came to him. He was kind of listening to some gospel music, and so where does it come from? I don't know, but I like to, sometimes I'll play some chord structures and some chord patterns that they can't, they kind of have to be a little different, and they have to kind of be emotional for me, and then the words will kind of fall in there. But I've done it the other way too, where I've written words and the music followed that. And where do you get the words? And again, I'm not really a trained musician, I'm more of an ear person, and I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you, a lot of mechanics of music, but it's more of a heart and a feel thing for me, and it always was. But where do you get the words? Some of the words just come to you. Some of the words you emulate from people. Some things you hear. I write things down. I let things simmer sometimes. But then again, sometimes the song comes right out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're struggling for a song for weeks and weeks, and maybe it's never finished. But it's a very interesting process. I even wonder myself where, and then there's other times where I couldn't even write a sentence, or I couldn't even, blank, zero, nothing, blank.
Yeah.
Other times it just pours out. So I don't know where that vein is. It's kind of like you're drilling a well and you hit the vein where the water is, the aquifer, and it's just very mysterious, and it's not methodical at all. It's very emotional,
So no secret recipe of
no.
songwriting, huh?
And
I understand.
spiritual, a little bit of spiritual in there too.
Yeah.
And of course, it reflects on what's going on in your life at the time. I find if things are going really well, I can't write a song,
You don't need to. You don't need any therapy then.
So, there's got to be some level of pain, some level of sorrow, some level of darkness, and some level of, I mean, a lot of my songs, I don't use the word love a lot in my songs. I think and I don't know why that is the case, but if you look at the lyrics in my song, the word love isn't in a lot of them. And a lot of songs, like, I feel are overused. It's overused,
I'm probably on that end of the spectrum.
I'll say it in a different way without, coming out that way.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. It relaxes me. It's kind of like my Prozac, like I keep saying,
Yeah. Well, that may be, like I say, why you don't, when you're happy, you don't need to write the songs, and, because, that's one of the things I like about your song, that they are emotional, and,
It's a little weird, right? Both our music is not like, the mainstream. We have our music's a little quirky sometimes,
well, we
but
don't want to be mainstream.
that's us.
Yeah, exactly. So one of your songs, the closing track on The Blink of an Eye, which is probably my favorite record of all the ones you've done so far, although they're all, are tremendous in their own way. So The Joy in Our Sadness. Can you tell us the backstory behind that song?
That song, that song has a lot of emotion. And even when I play it, I have to hesitate sometimes because I might, a tear might be coming out of my eye. But as you know, I'm married to a Brazilian girl. Her name is Fabia. And the song started from my father-in-law, he's probably about 87 now. And he's a very unusual, kind of like a Buddhist monk. He travels the country. He's traveled 30, 40 countries with a backpack, literally, very few possessions, lives like literally on $5 a day, and travels alone, takes buses, hostels, doesn't really speak the languages. And, we ask him, why are you doing this? And he basically said in Portuguese, and it translated to, I'm just trying to find a little joy in my sadness, And I said, wow, that's intense.
Gotta
And
write
then I
this
kind
down.
of pictured his life, and then I weaved it with some other things, and that's really where the song came from, from him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great one.
But it's weird. That's kind of a song that once the idea started, it almost wrote itself. It wasn't a lot of rewrites and going over it a million times. It kind of wrote itself, you know.
Yeah, that's it's always wonderful when that happens. But yeah, they are far and few between. But sometimes you need that, you know, that really emotional reaction to something to have it all pour out at once like that. Um, so along those lines, and maybe it is that song, but what song of
By the
yours that
way,
you've
that song, which you really enhance and really like, my music has been brought to all kinds of greater levels with all your contributions. I'm serious.
thank you.
And that's why I love hearing your ear, and I like give you free reign to see what you hear. And like, you put the organ on there, stuff which I never would have ever thought of in my
Hmm.
life. And I just really, made it very even more emotional, more
Yeah.
powerful song. So
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, thanks for the opportunity to be involved. And I like the way when you ask a musician, say, hey, you want to do something, you don't micromanage the situation. You let them do their thing and, let them be themselves. And I certainly appreciate that latitude. And I'm glad that, you know, I'm connecting at least at
yeah,
times, at least on that song.
so I have a lot of respect for your musical ability, your ear, your talent, and I'd rather hear my thing and see how it filters through you, and then I don't want to like constrain you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. And, I feel like your music resonates with me. So when you ask me to put something to it, it's almost as if I'm doing it for my own music. So it's very easy to see and get a feel for your motivation behind it or the emotion behind it and try to, kind of piggyback on that and just expand on it. So thanks. I appreciate it. And so the next question is, it might be that one as we talk about the emotion of songs. Which of your song do you think is the most emotional, or maybe even you think, hey, I might have left myself a little too vulnerable with this one because it is so emotional. Uh, if you think that about any of them, or just which do you find is the most emotional personally for you?
Well, like the Wounds of Love, I mean, the Blink of an Eye album is like, if Fred said, this is a dark album. And I guess it is, 'cause I go back and listen to it every now and then.
It's
And it
great.
is, I think, kind of, it is dark in a way. But that song Wounds of Love, of course, I wouldn't say it's about my mother, but it's a reaction of my reaction of the tap of emotions after she passed away. And there's a lot of it. We had, it was an ambivalent type of relationship. It wasn't always the greatest. So um, that one makes me cry sometimes. And also this song that I just wrote called "On the Plains," and I don't know if you were on that. I think I played it for you. You're
Yeah.
on that one, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I'm on that one.
That has a deep meaning too. It's kind of
Yeah.
intense. So when I play that, I almost start crying too. But those, and that's I really my songs. Um, I have to have that piece somewhere in my songs. That type of emotion or pain or feeling has to be there, or I can't even play it. I can't even
Yeah.
like authentically play it. And that's why I don't really do happy songs and stuff. But sometimes I guess I take a break. But that pain is kind of in all my songs. There's a piece of it somewhere. Sometimes it's hidden. It's not so obvious. But,
Yeah.
so.
All right. Change topics a little bit here. What do you prefer most? Writing, recording, or performing?
I think, well, I think writing and I mean, I think performing would be last. Writing and seeing it come to life in the recording studio.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, being in like Fred's studio to me is like one of the happy places of, it's just a great place to be. No track of time. It's a creative space, and it's really a nurturing space. So I love the recording process. Love that.
Yeah. Huh. That's a good segue into the next question. So, uh, tell me about your working relationship with Fred Gillen Jr.
Oh, Fred, Fred to me is like the Pope, and it's kind of like the musical messiah of the Hudson Valley. I'm lucky. I think Scoot Horton um, introduced me to him. I guess they went to high school, and I guess when Scoot's first album came out, I asked him, and I didn't really know Fred. And working with him, first of all, his studio was awesome. All his vintage equipment, his multi instrumentalism, his and again, he's another guy that steps back and just never really gets in the way of the process. You almost have to pry him to give a suggestion sometimes. He
Yeah.
kind of lets it go, and he'll steer it. But we're in sync now. I think even the three of us, I think there's a lot. We're in sync with the kind of things that we hear. But working with him is never a bad day. It's always a good day. We never really have a bad day in that studio. And
Yeah. I think
Amy,
the records would verify that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
Gotta
actually,
recommend. His music is. He's been very prolific in this pandemic, and he's shooting out a lot of stuff too, which is good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've seen a lot of your music been reviewed, your albums be reviewed online and things. And I said to Fred once, I say, hey, because I know he does the recording, the mixing, the mastering, the producing. I said, hey, Fred, I feel bad for you. You never get mentioned in any of these reviews, yet you're such an integral part of them. And he said, oh, I take that as a compliment.
really.
I had to think about that for a little while. Oh, yeah, I get it, because,
He kind of wants to be invisible.
yeah, he,
That's a good point.
which I look at and say, Fred, you're doing amazing stuff here. Like you and Leo are an amazing team, but I guess he sees it as he's not getting in the way of your creative process, and his mixing and mastering and recording skills are such that nobody's saying, well, the songs are great, but the production quality sucks, or anything like that. So, it was an interesting response to get back from him. But when I thought about it, I said, oh,
That's a
yeah,
good point. I
yeah.
didn't think of that. That's a good point.
And that's Fred too. He's a humble guy and he does good work, and he's not, jumping out there pushing his name, saying, oh, Leo, you got to get me in those reviews, And but I know you certainly acknowledge his contributions, and I'm
Without a
certainly
doubt.
aware of them.
Without a doubt.
It's you guys are a formidable team, that's for sure. So, who are some of your influences, that you would say that helped craft you as a songwriter?
You got there's
I
so
mean,
many. I mean, I have such a varied taste of music, but I mean, definitely a big Dylan fan. Definitely a big Neil Young fan. I love the lyricism of Dylan. I still, Tom Waits,
yeah,
Bruce Cockburn, Lucinda Williams, Johnny Cash.
yeah,
the beat. We could go on and on and on. It's the Beatles, of course. All that stuff that we grew up with. Um, Elvis Costello. All the other. It just goes on and on.
yeah,
You could just go on and on about my influences. Um, I'm missing many, many, I'm sure, but um, definitely, like I said, we used to say in college, you got to have your daily dose of Dylan, every day. You always had to play a little
yeah,
stand. That was when he was in his heyday. I'm talking back in the 70s.
yeah.
And so,
Nothing wrong with that.
uh, Lou Reed, love Lou Reed.
Yeah, got great stuff as well. Uh, so some people are interested in gear and things like that, and guitars. Some people are indifferent. Hey, they'll pick up and play anything. Some people are really into it. So for anybody curious out there, what kind of guitar do you play,
I
or
am
guitars?
I love Guild. I'm a Guild. I have several Guilds. I love Guilds. I have a Martin. I have a Takamine. I have my old Yamaha that I've had forever, which is still pretty good. But I could definitely favoring Guilds.
Yeah,
They suits my playing style. The neck, you can kind of play them hard. They have a good sound. I'm a Guild guy, I would
yeah.
say.
We'll see if we can land you a sponsorship deal.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Guild.
yeah, yeah.
Go get one.
What about what about harmonicas? I think a lot of people don't know, and you were mentioning at the beginning that you play blues harmonica. What kind of harmonicas do you play?
I have special 20s pretty much.
Yeah, the Horner
Uh,
Special 20s.
Golden melodies I have.
Oh,
Um, there's this new harmonica I've been trying out. It's called a torpedo. It's a little more, it's a stainless steel harmonica. I have some of those, but I would say special 20 and the rocket. You ever hear the rockets? The special, it's kind of like a souped up special 20. The
yeah.
holes are a little bigger, has a little deeper sound,
Oh,
but you don't even need, you can get away with like a basic, you know, basic harmonica, a wood
yeah.
harmonica without a problem. But I like the plastic reeds. Seem
I
like they
like
last.
those better too.
You like
Yeah.
those special 20s too, right?
Yeah, I like the Special 20s. I got a few of the Meister class. Those now are
You play golden
prices are.
melodies too.
I don't think
You
I've
don't
ever
play
tried a
those?
Golden Melody. No.
No, those have like they feel good in your hands because they're curved. There's no sharp edges. It's a little higher. It's not really more. You would like those actually. They're good
Yeah.
harmonicas. Harmonicas have gotten so expensive too.
It's crazy. Now I don't buy new harmonicas. I just buy the reed plates and swap them in.
Yeah, and
Because
change them yourself. I
yeah,
try that. I'm successful sometimes. You know,
I have the
sometimes it's
tools.
like
You can tune the individual reeds too. I have the tools to do it. But a lot of mine breaks. I bend a lot of notes, and if the reed breaks, forget it. There's a way to actually replace the reed, but you need like a rivet machine and everything. And, that's gotten beyond me a little bit. Someday, maybe.
it's like you could always like you could geek out with the good the Blues Junior amp and the great little harmonica mics.
The green bullet.
Yeah, the little bullets. Yeah, I have a little rocket. It's a little small harmonica with a has a volume control. It fits in your hand really well.
Yeah,
But
nice. So if somebody wanted to be introduced to Leo Harmonay's music, what album do you think would best represent your work that you would hand them, or what's if they could only listen to one song, what would it be that you think would best encapsulate Leo Harmony or give the best representation of, yeah. Yeah.
that's
I told you
hard.
there'd be some hard questions.
That's a hard one. I really liked the way Naked Rivers came out. I thought that was we put a lot of good things on that. I like that album. It goes all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, I personally like Lost Summer. That's a 7-minute song with that French singer. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, I like Joy in My Sadness. I like the song Naked Rivers because I don't. That's a rocking song that we usually don't do. But I think that right now that's my last album. That's probably my favorite album. So,
Yeah.
and then I've seen how it's changed over the course, how things have kind of evolved.
Yeah. It's great. I mean,
Glorious Decline is a good song to
for sure.
you played on also. You put your and Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was what, that EP came after Blink of an Eye and
Yeah,
before Naked Rivers, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
great to see, great to see the progression of, you're churning out a good amount of material. It's impressive.
It's common.
Yeah. So what do you have in the works? I mean, I know we touched upon it briefly, but
I have an album. I would say with Fred, there's probably 6 or 7 songs that are kind of done, and I probably have a few more. Probably going to be 9 or 10. It's going to be called Astoria. I have I'm in the process of making the cover and stuff.
what's it going to be called? What was that?
Astoria,
Astoria. Oh,
yeah, because it was all
nice.
written in this apartment that I'm in Astoria. It was like a little zone and that's really where it was born.
Nice.
Out of this in this apartment. So this apartment did serve a good purpose for that.
Yeah.
But And the songs all have, I don't know if they're tied together, if there's a concept, but um, they can't, from whatever's going on, it's this piece, little pictures of what's going on, while I've been living here. So.
Yeah. All right. So I've assembled a greatest hits of Leo Harmonay.
Oh no.
I'm gonna read through the list, and you either tell me yay or yay or nay. Essentially, like, do you feel this fits, or do you think my inclusion of this song is ludicrous? So, and they're in sort of chronological order based on album and then track order within the album. So, This Train in memory of Jim Lovell. Up to You.
I like those.
Wounds of Love.
Yeah.
In the Morning Light.
That's a little tough. That's a stretch. That's not for everyone, that song.
All right. Put a question mark back next to that one. The Blink of an Eye.
I like that song. I do.
The Joy in Our Sadness.
Love that song.
Hard Alone.
That's a push. I like it, but that's not for everyone. I do like that song.
All right.
But that song is not for everyone, that's for sure. That EP has some experimental things on it.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Glorious Decline, also from the EP.
I think that's a good song.
Shine on You, reprise.
I like that.
And then moving on to Naked Rivers album, The Ballad of the Unknown River Driver.
That's a good Americana song.
Yeah, that song came out amazing. I think that's one of your best, in my opinion. Naked Rivers.
I like that one.
Title track.
It's different from me.
Yeah, it's a nice upbeat rocker.
Kind of garagey.
Yeah. And You and the Sun.
I like that. I really wish we could re-record that one though, but I do like that song. I do like it.
Yeah, I really like that one as well. It's got that line in there too. Without the darkness, you cannot see the light.
Yeah.
It's something I try to keep in mind during this whole pandemic thing, that we will emerge at some point. And obviously there's a lot of tragedy now, but we got to keep in mind that.
Leonard Cohen kind of weaved that theme through many of his songs, darkness and light.
Yeah.
And, I think I see Fred is even doing that now with his latest.
Yeah. All right. So that's the questions I got for you, other than where can people find your music or find out about you?
Again, I'm not the best marketer. I'm on Spotify. I'm on iTunes. I'm on SoundCloud. I have my website, lharmonic.com, which I'm kind of going to start revamping it a little bit. And probably,
right.
What are the other, where I'm on YouTube Music and, all those platforms.
All right. And I'll put all that stuff in the comments section of the YouTube video.
And, it's great that one thing with this pandemic, you're watching all the, not only the local Hudson Valley musicians, showcasing the music out of their living room and live streaming, which I think this stuff is awesome. And then, a lot of very substantial musicians, Paul Simon, Mary Chapin Carpenter, who's a big influence of mine also. I love her lyrics are beautiful, big inspiration for me. And she's playing every night in her living room. And just all this great music that people staying home and you're able to see in a stripped down version, which I love. And all these playlists that these Hudson Valley singer-songwriters, Alex Cano and, Monica Winters, and Greg Jaquin, they all put these playlists together. And the Hudson Valley has a very, and I don't know if this is true with a lot of areas, but it's a very singer-songwriter friendly area, isn't it? I mean, there's so many good, talented singer-songwriters around here and musicians.
It's amazing.
Original music, many. And, met so many good people. I mean, me and you met at 12 Grapes, I think, at one of the open mics.
Right. I know. God knows how many years ago.
Remember those nights up there? Those great nights.
Yeah.
Met so many good people.
Yeah, no, there's a scene, and it's may
Thank
not
God
be
I
as
have that
apparent.
part of my life, because my other part of my life is so different than this.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy you write music and record music and perform music. And thanks for taking the time to
Yeah, I
chat
really
with me today.
appreciate you taking the time and interest in talking to me. Really,
Of course, I'm a big fan of your music.
and likewise.
Well, thank you. Thanks very much. I appreciate it, and thanks everybody for watching.
All right,
Leo
appreciate.
Harmonay.
All right, have a good night, John.
You too.
All right,
Bye.
signing off.